Hello everyone and welcome to the Chair Sessions with Dr. D. Today's guest is a Kansas City-based chart-topping contemporary blues rock guitarist, vocalist, and road warrior, keeping a schedule of 150 to 200 shows per year. His music blends gritty, old-school blues, vintage soul, swampy funk, and rock and roll. I have 𝘾𝐿 on the line with me from the road, and he's going to talk to us about his musical journey in the context of his album catalog, his current tour for his latest release, Live from the Red Shed. He's got some band members on board. Welcome aboard, guys.
Hey, how you doing? Good to be here with y'all.
Great. Thanks for taking the time out to come on. For our new listeners, getting acquainted with your music. I was reading some more. Your musical journey goes back to your childhood, 6 or 7 years old, hearing Led Zeppelin's Heartbreaker.
Absolutely, yeah. So when I was a kid, my mom had an old late 70s Honda Accord, and it was one of those ones that looked like a roller skate. I would crawl up in the back hatch and just curl up next to the speaker while we were riding around. And at some point, I remember hearing Led Zeppelin's Heartbreaker, and I was like, yeah, that's it. That's what I want to do.
So did you take up guitar right after that?
Well, originally I had the opportunity to play piano probably when I was around 7 or so. And that just didn't work out. We didn't have a piano at the house. So for my next birthday, my mom actually bought me a guitar. It was one of my uncle's acoustic guitars. And it was an old late 70s Ovation acoustic. And that was my first foray into playing any instruments. And I was about 7 years old when she bought that for me.
So what was that like when you first picked up the guitar? You said when you heard the song, when the Heartbreaker, you knew that this is what you wanted to do. And then you started with piano, went to the guitar. When you picked up the guitar, was that a different, what was the vibe when you switched from the piano to the guitar?
Oh, I loved it, but I remember it being very difficult when I was younger. The pain on your fingers when you're first getting started, building up the strength and the dexterity, and you hear things on the radio and you go, oh, you think that should be easy, and then you get into it, and it's why so many people buy a guitar, play it for a couple weeks, and then it gathers dust in the closet or under the bed. But I was bound and determined. I wasn't giving up. So
I like to take the deeper dive into some of these deeper things. So where'd that determination come from? What was going through your mind? It's like, I'm going to do this.
Well, again, just the feeling that music has always given me, listening to it, playing it, it was just really a goal that I wasn't going to stop, even though it hurt a little bit. I remember, being a kid, by this time, 13, 14 years old, I would play till my fingers bled. I would super glue them back together and just keep playing.
Nice. Who were the influences that fueled that determination? Like, who were you listening to that was, where you were getting amped up?
Well, the early stuff was definitely Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Cream, and a lot of the stuff that was just on the radio in the early to mid 80s and stuff like that. And then, the farther I got into it, I learned of people like Willie Dixon and Robert Johnson, and then dug a little deeper and found people like Paul Kossoff and Peter Green. Nice. And my biggest influences have probably always been, or since I realized who they were, Alvin Lee of 10 Years After and Rory Gallagher.
So you took the deep dive into the blues, going back into the roots of the music, the blues, and that helped fuel that determination.
Yeah, and for me, I've always been a bigger fan of the British blues rock from the 60s and 70s, and all that came from the Delta blues from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and on.
Yeah, isn't that wild how it kind of started in the Delta, then kind of went over the pond, but then ended up coming back?
Well, yeah, so, the Delta blues, Muddy Waters and Robert Johnson and Hound Dog Taylor and Big Bill Bernsey and all them, they were almost nothing in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
nobody knew who they were. They played on the Chitlin circuit, and that was about it. And they would put their records out, and you had all the cats over in England were going to scoop up those records as quick as they could. When they hit the stands over there, they took those songs, put a little bit of electricity and some oomph behind them. These guys are right here in our backyards.
I know, that's what's fascinating to me, that it had to go all the way across the ocean to kind of pick up some momentum and then to come back.
Right.
Always amazed me. So let's talk about how you came to get the first album together. So you got that early start, influences, momentum, determination. Titanium Blue was your first release in 2014.
Correct.
And so, crash course, what are the series of events that drove you to recording that and releasing that, Titanium Blue?
Well, it was just, I had been either a rhythm guitarist or a lead guitarist for other people's bands for years and years and years. And sang backup vocals, harmonies, whatever, in other people's bands for years and years and years. And it got to the point where every band I was in was playing the same stuff. And I just kind of got tired and bored with it.
The classic covers, right?
Yeah, the classic covers where, do you know this song? Yeah, I've played it 9,000 times.
Uh-huh.
You know this one? Yeah, of course. And it got to the point where I was just like, I think I'm ready to do something else. So I started my own band. And we went about 3 or 4 years doing covers, but we were doing avant-garde covers. And then, we would do stuff like from Traffic.
Was it like the deeper cut B-side stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I'm drawing a blank on the song right now. Had to Cry Today.
Ah, nice.
We would do a cover of Had to Cry Today, and we would do Outside Woman Blues from Cream and stuff like that. The stuff that not everyone played. And it got to a point where we were just messing around in rehearsal one day, and I had a couple songs that I'd written. Because I've always written songs. I just never really took them into any of the bands that we were playing with because it didn't seem like they would fit. But we were messing around in rehearsal, and I go, well, hey, let's try this. I got this song that I wrote. And they were like, hey, that's good. Let's play it. So I brought another one, then another one, and then another one, then another one. And all of a sudden, we had enough stuff that we'd played through and worked out the kinks within the songs to make an album. And we decided, hey, let's go make an album.
Nice. So the appeal for songwriting, did that come early too, along with the guitar playing, or did the songwriting develop later?
Well, the songwriting developed probably in my late teens. Because up until that point, I was just, just playing guitar and maybe doing a little bit of backup vocals.
When you were playing the guitar, were you starting to hear songs? Were you starting to hear your own songs?
Yes. Yeah. At that point, I was starting to hear my own songs, and decided, let's give this a shot. And I still have all my notebooks. Nice. From songs that I wrote, when I was a teenager. And I'll look back at them, and sometimes I'll go back and mess with ones that were never finished or ones that never saw the light of day yet, and kind of tweak them and add to them so that they're a little more current or more suitable to be played now.
Yeah, nice. So talk about Titanium Blue. How did you choose the songs for that? Did you have a concept in mind? Did the concept just form from the songs that you selected? Tell us a little bit about that. The players on that album, producer?
Well, us, the band, were the producers.
All right.
We pretty much had all the songs put together by the time we went into the studio. They were all written, and we'd been... I have a history of... I want to play stuff live before we ever go into the studio. I try and play it in front of a crowd to see if the song goes over, if it's going to be something that's going to be enjoyed by people before even waste the time spending the money to record it.
Yeah, that's a common protocol, and it probably works well. You get a feel for it.
Yeah, you get a feel for it, and also when you go into the studio at that point, the song's pretty much done.
Yeah,
all you got to do is hook up and record it.
So Titanium Blue was 2014, and you said that was more of a smorgasbord, right? Because you were experimenting with different things on your first one, kind of putting it all out there, seeing what you like, what is well received, things like that.
Yeah, throwing spaghetti noodles against the wall to see what sticks.
Seeing what sticks. And some great tracks on there. One of my favorites, When I Fall, had this hip-hop rap style vocal, kind of like an Aerosmith-esque Steven Tyler vibe to it, and definitely rocks.
Yeah, and like I said, we kind of fused that with a Led Zeppelin inspired riff to go along with it, and still to this day, people love that song, and we play that live, and people go, "Man, that's an awesome song."
Oh yeah, I could see that one driving some pretty high crowd energy, definitely. And Death Letter is another one that stood out for me.
Yeah, again, that was originally an old Sun House tune, and we just took and flipped it on its head, and gave it just a nasty, greasy rock and roll vibe. And that's another one. We start that off with that 4/4 time kick drum. Just my goal is I want people to feel it in their chest.
Definitely, and you guys definitely make it your own.
Oh yeah, and then that groove comes in, and we alternate between the half time and straight time. In that, and it that's another one that usually inside of 30 seconds of playing that one, people are up dancing.
Yeah, nice. Anything else you want to say about Titanium Blue, your debut release?
It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and I hope to keep learning from that, and with every album that's coming out in the future, along with that one, hope to keep learning, because you can never know too much or learn enough.
Yeah, right on. Evolution. I love watching artists evolve, change, grow, and just see how their sound changes, develops, and evolves over time. So Kurt, let's now talk about your 2020 release, Whiskey, Women, and Trouble. As if that one really needs an intro. But you were telling me a story earlier about how that album and the title track came together. You were picking up an amp from Kansas City amp tech Dave Kelly, who unfortunately has since passed on. Tell us the rest of that story.
Just kind of bullshit, and I was picking up an amplifier that he'd worked on for me, and we were talking about each other's vices. And he was talking about his was beer and cigarettes. And I said, yeah, mine's got to be whiskey and women. And it always leads to trouble. And bang, that riff popped in my head. And I got whiskey, women, and trouble on my mind. It was there. And at that point, all I had to do is put some verses to it.
Nice. A couple of popular songs came off of that one. One of them, Graveyard Blues.
Yes. That one, we're all up against time. Nobody gets out alive. That's just kind of my ode to that, I guess. I come up with that riff and just really liked it. And at the time, I don't remember who it was, but we were talking about mortality with a friend of mine, and that things just kind of progressed and popped out with that. But it's just that age old saying, we can't beat Father Time.
Watch Your Step is next.
Yes. So Watch Your Step is had a buddy of mine who's he was pretty sure his old lady was stepping out on him.
Oh boy.
So that's kind of where that came from, because he'd say, man, she better watch it. She's stepping out. She better watch it. So it was just kind of, you better watch your step.
Yeah, great arrangement on that one, too.
Well, and that one's got, elements of blues, swing, and a little bit of jazz in there too. There's some walk. There's a walk in there. There's a swing and just your blues shuffle, all in different little sections.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool one too. And then I like the next one. Funkalicious has that 70s vibe to it, that 70s funk vibe.
Yeah, that one was. I don't remember exactly what brought that one up. I think I was in Memphis eating fried chicken, and we had to stop at Gus's in Memphis, and I think I said, "Oh man, that's just funkalicious." But that's one that we don't really play live. It's not that we can't. It really, really takes away from the song to not have horns.
Oh, right. Absolutely. Sure. And Voodoo Queen, that one stands out too. A little swampy, right?
Absolutely. That is one that's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Prior to the pandemic, we spent quite a bit of time in New Orleans playing all up and down Bourbon Street. And I've always been fascinated with New Orleans and just the culture, the context, and everything that goes down there. So I was doing some reading on Marie Laveau one night, and that kind of came out of it. And I wanted something that was greasy and funky and bass and drum driven. And that came out of it. And for years, when we play that live, people come up and say, "Man, that is just a great song. We love that." And it's like very little other, I don't recall ever hearing anything like it.
No, that's what really made it stand out for me too, and it's one of my favorites on that album. And it really does capture that swampy vibe. Like you guys nailed it. When you listen to it, it really transports you.
Yeah, it's a fun one. As I said, to this day, it's still one of my favorites to play. So
nice. So was that written? Was that one written? Most of the songs written during the pandemic, or was it just from the old notebook?
Oh, these were way before the pandemic.
Oh, okay,
everything off Whiskey, Women in Trouble was written probably between, early days and 2018 or so.
Okay. So it wasn't written. So they came from the old notebook, basically. Yep.
Yeah.
After that one, Live from the Red Shed in 2022. So we were starting to come out of the pandemic. You had been touring for the previous albums, right? Getting a feel for the audience reception to the music and the tracks. Tell us about Live from the Red Shed. And by the way, great track list, because you took a lot of the songs from your previous two albums plus a few new ones, right? And made this live album. So talk about Live from the Red Shed.
Well, just like you said, that was coming out of the pandemic. We'd been sitting around, not able to play a whole lot of shows. We went from, 200 shows a year to maybe 25 in 18 months.
Wow. Yeah.
And, throughout that whole time, Whiskey, Women in Trouble was still on the charts. Whiskey, Women in Trouble stayed on the charts for about 18 months.
Nice.
And so at the time we had that show coming up at the Red Shed. We were about, maybe a month away from it. And I was talking to management at the time, and they said, "How do you feel about doing a live album?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I got to kind of looking at the few shows that were coming up, and I go, "You know what? I bet Jeff at the Red Shed would be all down for this." I said, "Let me call him real quick." So within a couple hours, we set up doing a live show at the Red Shed, within, about a month away, about a month out. And I've got probably 3 albums worth of material that's just been setting since the pandemic. And we pulled a couple of those and stuck them on Live from the Red Shed.
So the guys you've got playing with you now are they the same ones that recorded with you?
No, they were not on Live at the Red Shed. So the guys on Live at the Red Shed was Greg Schauberg. He was on drums, and Bill Moreland on bass. Currently got Adam Schwartz has been with me on bass and vocals and backing vocals for about 2.5 years. And we've got Matt McMillan on drums, has been with us for about a month. McMasters, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was all recorded live. We did go back in and do a little bit of touch-ups on the vocals, but that all came from one show. And if I recall, I want to say that was in August of 21 that we recorded that, and then we sent it off to get mastered. Mixed and mastered, and then spent a couple months promoting it before it dropped in November of 22.
Yeah, captured some great energy on that one. Not only yourself and the band, but the audience.
Yeah, the crowd was great.
Yeah.
I remember the first couple songs of that show. They still had. Again, this was still at the tail end of the pandemic, so they had like spit guards.
Yep.
In front of the microphones.
Oh boy.
Just in case, and they were causing feedback, but we kind of had it set up where we were going to do about 5 or 6 songs, and then get into the portion that was going to be used for the album. We were going to get really get going on the set before we went in and played the songs that were going to be part of the album. And about the third song, this Jeff and the sound man realized, hey, we've got to lose those spit guards. They're causing all kinds of feedback. They've got to go.
Yeah, strange times, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But it probably felt good to be out there.
Oh, it felt amazing. It still does to this day. I mean, I don't care if we're playing in front of 3 people or 3,000. I love doing what I do. I love being out playing. So,
and I think that's what shines through your performances and the energy that you guys put out. Let's talk a little bit about the touring now. In the intro, I mentioned 150 to 200 shows a year. That's not an exaggeration.
No.
Might even be more, right?
I don't. I usually don't really pay attention to how many we played.
You're just doing it.
Year. Well, until the end of the year, I might go back and look and count them up and go, okay, all right, cool.
So
but yeah, I mean, the only way in today's day and age, the only way musicians really make money is touring. So the more days that we can be out playing shows, the better it is.
Yep. And the merch.
Yeah.
The touring and the
merch. Yeah, touring and the merch. That's really where it all comes. And tips.
And tips, yeah.
Yeah, we still get tips, and that's where the meat of it comes from. Because the days of writing a number 1 song that makes you a millionaire,
right.
Those are gone.
So the actual touring protocol for you guys is you guys driving most of the tour?
Oh yeah. Well, all the tour we're driving.
Okay. All the tour.
We make sure, because we have everything that we need to play a show in our van.
Yeah.
We carry at least a small sound system just in case, because we might be out someplace, play a Saturday, Sunday show, and somebody goes, hey, you guys want to play a show in our backyard on Monday night? We'll pay you.
Yeah, nice.
It's pretty hard to do without a sound system. So I've had it pop up in the past where that stuff like that happens. So we always try to have it with us.
You're ready to rock wherever you go.
Yeah, and enough that we can get up and play our show, and it won't be completely dark, and you'll be able to hear us.
Now, how about overseas touring?
We haven't yet, but we're really working on trying to get there.
Right on.
We would love to get over to Europe or Canada, any of the above. In fact, we'll be up in Buffalo, New York. Just right across the river from Canada here a week from today.
Nice. Then all the fun starts with flying. Right? All the fun of the flights. And especially these days, man, flying is not for the faint-hearted, not for the impatient. That's for sure.
Yeah, you want to wrap yourself in bubble wrap before you get on an airplane.
All right. So
just the logistics of it, and when you fly for shows, you got to have most of your stuff backlined because you can't exactly fly with an amplifier or a drum kit. You can take a bass, a guitar, maybe two. You might be able to get away with sneaking a pedal board on.
Right.
But, the logistics of getting from point A to point B with what you need to play a show become that much more difficult to do.
And you become dependent on venues and other sources of equipment and things that you need, right?
Venues, promoters.
Yeah.
I know for us, once we get to the point that we're over in Europe or Canada, Canada would be all right because we could just drive there and have all of our stuff. But once we get over to Europe, I know it'll have to be more than likely we'll probably have to rent gear.
Yep.
If backlines aren't provided at venues where we're playing, then likely gear will have to be rented. And then, that's a whole nother
it's a whole nother ball
avenue.
Game, right? Yeah.
That's a whole nother avenue because
the logistics
being from the US, none of our equipment's going to work with the electricity in Europe.
Right. Yeah, all the other fun things that go along with touring overseas. So we'll bring it back locally. So you've got some local shows coming up here. Well, this podcast is based at the Jersey Shore. You're actually coming. You're going to be in New Jersey, not far from Atlantic City, on Tuesday, June 16th, at Betsy's Sound Reflections, just outside of Atlantic City. What do you know about that venue? Nice, small, intimate venue.
Yeah, I'm told it's a house concert.
Yeah.
From what I'm told, I've told it's a great place and that everyone has played there at one time or another.
Mm-hmm. Great music and food and drink.
All right.
Yep. It's like a potluck dinner type of event too. So there'll be a whole smorgasbord of food, and I'm sure the music is gonna be great. It's a intimate venue. You said you like some of the deeper cuts, some of the stuff that you really feel. That I think that her stage really sets itself up for that.
Okay, very very cool. I didn't know much about the place. I hadn't really heard of it until our booking agent. He goes, "Oh, you need a Tuesday somewhere in New Jersey." He goes, "Let me call Betsy."
Nice.
And he called me back about 5 minutes later. He goes, "You're confirmed at Betsy's for Tuesday the 16th." And I'm like, "Cool."
Excellent.
And at that point, we started. I started doing a little bit of research, what I could find online about it. And we're definitely looking forward to it. Our goal there is going to be the same everywhere else. We're going in there with the intentions of blowing the roof off.
There you go. Nice.
And people leaving going, how did we not know about these guys before?
Oh, they're going to know. They're going to know, and it's going to spread far beyond Atlantic City. And we're going to. There'll be a link to the venue and information regarding how to get tickets for that show in the liner notes of the interview. And then after that, you've got some other shows coming up. You going into New York State?
So prior to that, we will be in New York State.
Oh, before, okay.
Friday, June the 5th, we will be in Buffalo, New York at Sportsman's Tavern.
Nice.
Saturday, June the 6th, we will be at Oh My Darling in Syracuse. Think that's a 8:30 show. Buffalo is a 9 p.m. show. And then we will be in Tully, New York on Sunday the 7th at a place called 𝘊𝘐𝑜 Fermentations.
Ooh, nice.
That'll be a 3 o'clock show, Sunday afternoon matinee show.
Okay.
3 to 5. And then we're off on Monday the 8th. Tuesday the 9th, we'll be in Seneca Falls at Clanman's Party House.
Busy schedule.
And, yeah, well, and then we run over to Manchester, Connecticut on Wednesday the 10th at the Hungry Tiger. Thursday the 11th, we go to 52 Sumner in Springfield, Massachusetts. Then back to Carmine's in East Hartford, Connecticut on Friday the 12th. We are doing, once again, the 𝘿𝐿𝐼𝐴 motorcycle rally on Saturday, June the 13th, up at the Nassau resort up there in Laconia, right on 𝘬𝑗ℎ Beach.
Nice. So you're going pretty far up the seaboard and then coming back down?
Well, after that, we go a little farther up north. We go up to Rockland, Maine.
Ah, nice.
For a Monday night up at a place called the Park Street Grill on Monday the 15th.
Ah, is that Paul Benjamin?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
It is.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and then we run down to back down to Betsy's Atlantic City area and knock that out. And then we've got 2 days, about 36 hours to get to New Orleans. But we'll be in New Orleans at the House of Blues on Thursday, the 18th of June. And then Baton Rouge at Phil Brady's on the 19th. And we go to Texarkana, Arkansas, a place called The Hideout on Saturday, the 20th.
Nice. Now, for those who weren't taking notes, we're going to also include a link to your touring schedule in the liner notes of the interview. So people can just click on that, and wherever you're listening from, you'll be able to find out where the Kurt Allen Band is going to be coming into your area, fueling blues rock momentum. Oh, tell us, who are your players, current players that are touring with you now?
So current players are Adam Schwartz. He's on bass and he sings probably 7 or 8 songs, lead vocals, and does backup vocals as well. And then we've got Matt McMasters on drums.
Great. Kurt, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing the musical journey with us, and also sharing the energy in the performances. Looking forward to seeing you at Sound Reflections outside of Atlantic City.
Absolutely. Everybody in the Atlantic City area, come on out to Betsy's Sound Reflections on Tuesday, June the 16th. You will not be disappointed.
Right on. And I want to wish you the best of luck on the upcoming project and the tour.
Right on. Well, thank you very much, Darren. It's been a blast.
Likewise. Take care,
right,
guys.
Man, take it easy.
You too.
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. I take that